Looks like you did at 1.6. Bring others I thought it was They had pretty good actors. A lot of people. Like the old Japanese transistor. Oh, yeah. Ryan got hold of Well, we're not sure. I think we want to get one. Everybody does. Yeah. We still got time to move. But it might be worldwide. You're in. Could have worked out so much better. But I'm loving it. I love it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Throw that into the mix. Oh, I know. Yeah, never ran it from where yeah, sure. You got my address.
I met the veterans last week, right now their name is starting. No idea. I'm going to be back on stage again this year. Alex, the music. Alex, if you do another mountain show, don't sing this out like okay, then I got an idea. Christmas, why? I did that. So he said, you've already auditioned, man. Let me know that I'll put it my calendar too. Great entertainment story. Oh, you're welcome. It's amazing how I'm getting calls from Rotary clubs and clubs all over.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it this year.
We all find a seat, please. Thought there was something different here, but there's no mic. There we go. I'll have to yell a little bit louder. Obviously, they didn't bring us the mic today. Just notice that. Thanks.
Never been supposed to do that.
I'm going to sit all by myself.
Thank you to Leo and Judy for being our Sergeant at Arms, Sergeant at Arms.
Someone move to the front.
And for John for being a fantastic greeter. And he actually realized that we didn't change the name of our club. So we put out the other, our banner. Todd, would you lead us in O Canada?
O Canada, our home and native land, through patriot love, in all of us commend. With glowing hearts we see the rise of true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
to grab a glass. We'll raise a toast to Canada and the Kitchener Westmount Rotary Club. Bow your heads, we have a reflection. Let our eyes be open. May we awake and see the beauty that surrounds us all. Let all our dreams come true when we wish upon a star. Let us be thankful for the friendship that we lovingly enjoy. Let us never forget the care that was made for us to be. Let me never forget the caring that was made for me to see. Amen. If any Rotarian has brought a guest, please have them introduced. No guests?
Oh, sorry. I brought a guest, my wife Michelle, and also my caregiver.
What's the name of your caregiver?
We have a visiting Rotarian, Louise Gardner. And of course our speaker, which is really more formally introduced when it's appropriate.
Rotarians, how do we greet our guests? And I'll ask that the guests lead us to the buffet.
Takes away.
We'll make sure
My caregiver was how did that go? And were you a winner? My daughter won a bottle of tequila. Oh, it was a draw. So you could have got the
She did, so that was a legitimate thing. Because mine, I didn't put anything
the guy that won the 3 won the whole. I didn't know how so what did you say? So next year, you're going
No, it was
Oh, I'll take that one. I went to see him, he was on the ticket for last one. I went to see him last week. I just did that Spider-Man music camp. He's got a cut rate. I'm excited. I love
Better than one. Careful. When you have close to that, it's your kitchen.
Yeah. So we wonder bar and it's pretty awesome. And I'll be able to hold it. So kind of
Nothing like a
Fridays, our happy hour is we have different people. We're on calls coming in. Come down and
Go for a drink?
Laura will give you some kindness too.
Yeah, there's also
Thank you so
My name's Mac, by the way.
I don't know.
You're gonna have a purpose.
I went to the party. We've been to it is awesome. They have awesome.
You gotta fun and then you can propose to LA next year. You're not a pro, but.
Well, late over the holidays.
You're on YouTube, right? Well,
Where the beers really? That house up there?
Part of it is. What's the name of the? There's already
Oh, Manual Bible College. And that's vacant? It's empty?
well, they have vacant land, which they've now sold. Well, they're proposing. Townhouses. Not just, I could be wrong here, but I thought it was townhouses.
Okay, gosh.
Oh, no, it's not marked. A computer.
Okay, yeah.
Tell your house, you went there, and you're on your own.
Yeah, Chris Burley. Seller can see it. And then
You know, I feel bad for the most.
Anyway.
It's a Victorian.
It's white.
double laid.
I just applied for
Not only is it up to this way, but all of their houses are uphill especially on the east side, on the east side of the street, all of the houses are uphill, all the driveways. So you get this double lane where the snow piled into your lane. Dig it out, you still can't get the driveway because it's so excellent. Over your head costs.
I'm right on the corner with Restory. And they don't plow that. He says around the auger to clean that up so there's no snow just never gets plowed. Diligent about fine, very intelligent. With water, that was some of the highest, but this sound is all the sidewalks is all shipped. The biggest problem is the freezing. You get these close lines on the line on it. Here gets the number from Mike. The bus depot?
The transit.
Well, there's a transit hub that's supposed to be built in the corner. They fired the original. I don't want to say contractor. Proposed company that they were going to work with to build that. But there is still supposed to be that hub built. And that would include GRT. So that entire transit hub that's currently at between Joseph and Shaw. That's gonna have a what's proposed on that piece of property? Inquiring minds want to know.
When do you have to? So my pricing right now is
Oh, that's the road.
for 8 hours of video per week, phone, cable, internet, full activity programming. Yeah, you have a full like you did auto rooms all down to stainless steel fridge, microwave. You know, my place is pretty popular. Our seniors, they go out till overpass, laser flat, we go on trips.
But is that the cost, or is that cost after government?
The one right here, I think, is,
Hey, I'm trying to find out, so it's not subsidized. So places like University Games or 75 where retirement is they usually use it house profits for the church. Those are all a la carte. It's like a task bar, how you click off the bar. Sometimes you have people who need to
it will be high.
I was just thinking for my own thing. How much do you need? If I live till I'm, 83, and I need to be in a home like that, how much do I need to have? No way. I don't have a pension.
The hardest part is when you take up mom and dad, where they will, instead of letting mom or dad stay there, where they go to run out of money, right? You have all the other videos. I have a family right now. Mom and dad over $8.3 million. They have 3 farms out in I don't know. Your daughter, you can help the whole thing. All of the homes and two brothers, including the daughter. It's so bizarre, right?
Right.
The only other reason is the
or you have family members
You can't see the road.
No, I know, but the scan number replacement.
If they want it, or
I like going there because all the towels have JM on it.
You see a lot of
We have some. What's the point? Fairmont.
It was the tallest building.
Well, it's a very historic.
We almost made it.
Rotary is a good
Which is kind of hard to understand.
Well, I don't. The vast majority of people don't know. The vast majority of people don't know what services the city provides and what services the region provides.
Well, we do, but.
More women than men.
I'll leave everybody here. I've got to go. Come on, man. I was with you on this. I guess I've got my mic back. It is 3,000.
We're already meeting with the
So this week, members' birthdays that we're celebrating. Our own David Barnes, March the 5th. David's here. Sorry I missed it. And Spencer Ewell is March the 7th. Spouse's birthday, Janice Bolzon, March the 4th. I didn't spy any anniversaries on the list for the month. But we have here date individuals who are our Rotary anniversaries. John Thompson, 10 years, March the 1st. Neil Aitchison, 38 years, March the 4th. Gord Ferguson, I don't know if you're watching, Gord. Happy anniversary. 28 years old. Gord Ferguson, 38 years, March the 4th. Glenn Machen, 38 years, March the 4th. Chuck Thompson, 38 years, March the 4th. I see a pattern going on.
Yeah, there won't be any 39s till next year.
Yeah. And Don Wilcock is 38 years, March the 4th. And to round things out, Jairus Moss is 7 years, March the 7th. Just a quick reminder for bingo tomorrow. Right? Huh? Leo Toki, Dell, and Jairus.
Bingo.
I'd like to call on Michelle Gardner. Jack, come on. Now, Michelle, this is something new for us and something new for me because you're our first associate member that we've brought into our club. So the process has been a little bit different. Can't hear you.
The mic's not working.
Yeah. Leave it there. I'm not going to pull it down.
I'll come closer.
Yeah. So Michelle is our first associate member to be brought into our club. And so I would like to welcome you to the Rotary Club of Kitchener-Westmount. I will not pin it on. You'll have to put that on.
Okay.
But there is your badge. And I'd like all the Rotarians to welcome our newest associate member. Look forward to when you become a full-fledged.
Thank you very much.
Just a reminder that the annual Mayor's Dinner The 32nd Annual Mayor's Dinner, Saturday, April 13th, 2019 at Bingaman's. And I don't know if everybody got the email about our Kids Ability Fun Day that we're sponsoring. We're the lead club this year. Please contact Claire for those that would like to be involved in helping out there. Please contact Claire if you wouldn't like to be involved, but we'll help out there. And the other thing is, I was supposed to remind everybody that we have 2 remaining lovely Rotary tubes up here. I believe they're $16.95. Somebody told me they work real well. You can just kind of roll them up and put them in your golf bag. That if you're out there and it's cold, you can always pull it. Please remember about these, the Rotary bag. 50-50 draw. We're drawing for the spectacular amount of $65.50. And the first ticket, the last 4 numbers is 8168.
Yeah.
Draw again.
Probably the one right on top.
Should I even dig mine out? I'm not going to.
I missed that balloon.
You want to pull the black one
There's a balloon guy that came in here.
Thank you, Ed. 8166.
Do you want to try the best screen that you're going to buy?
It's like fishy.
Lucky fingers on here.
It is.
8161.
I'll be awake.
The best.
Might have to carry me to the car.
Thank you.
And I said,
Reach right in there.
June 6 months.
Go with the black marble. Oh, that's too bad. And now the pot will roll. I will call on Chris Wilk to introduce our guest.
My pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Judy McDonald is current president of the Waterloo Potters Workshop. She has been an executive on the executive committee the past 8 years and has been a member since 2007. June took her first ceramics class at age 11, and ever since it has been the hobby that grew. She started teaching wheel classes to beginners nearly 3 years ago and now calls pottery her side gig. When not covered in plate, June helps businesses connect with customers through email marketing and strategic content with her agency, Content Mixing. So please welcome June.
One over on the, yeah, there. Yeah, there.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me here today. How many people here have heard of the Waterloo Potters Workshop? All right, so this is very indicative of us. There's a small group that knows us really well and comes to our sales every year, and then there's a whole bunch of people who have no idea that we exist. But we're that hidden house at the top of the hill in Waterloo Park. And the Waterloo Potters Workshop has we celebrated our 50th anniversary last year, so now in year 51, and it's a co-op, so it's all run by members, for members, and we have a couple sales a year plus a couple of fundraising initiatives that we do. So I'll start by sharing my own journey. I originally came here from Toronto, and I got hired to work at RIM, and I used to do classes and occasionally open hours at a pottery studio in Toronto. And when they said when I said I was moving to Waterloo, they said, "Oh, you have to join the Waterloo Potters Workshop. It's this great guild, and I was like, oh wow, okay, I'll go check it out. And little did I know what a treasure we have here. Are there people here who have hobbies outside of, or I guess hobbies in general, right? So yeah, like there are lots of like I know there's a woodworking guild, we have a spinners guild, I know there are like groups for everything. Like most organizations that are volunteer driven, you need to have people who are willing to, you know, go the extra mile at times, and you have people who have at times less time and more time to invest. That's certainly been my case, depending on that work here. But what's been amazing about the workshop is being able to access a full facility and 24/7 and all the people, and you always learn from each other, right? So this is the front entrance of our building at Waterloo in the park. It's the old EB farmhouse and has been added onto a couple times. There we go. So we have the Potter's Workshop runs 2 sales every year with our members' work, and I did bring flyers because our sale's coming up at the end of April. So for anyone who's interested or can help spread the word, that'd be great. Part of the proceeds go towards the workshop, and then the rest all goes to the potter. And our members are anywhere from beginners who are just they've gotten really interested in this hobby. It gets very obsessive, and all the way, you know, to part-time professionals, all the way to full-time potters. So lots of people working in all different types of jobs, you know, teachers, technology. So we have some engineers. We have Belle here, who's a member. Yeah, or and even so, lots of retired people, but also we have moms who have little kids, so they're either working part-time or they need an outlet. They need to get out of the house, so they come join the workshop. And so everybody anybody can have a table at our sales. They're extremely well run. So as you know from running this organization, you need to have, you know, good organization skills and people for every single job. So that's what we do. So you come out to the sale. Whoops. There's a huge variety of work. Some people have an idea of pottery that is maybe from the, you know, 70s, of very brown and very brown. So this has some brown, as you can see, but there's a lot of variety. So, you know, there's Teresa's work, which is all very light, and she does a lot of what we call hand building. And those are 2 of our organizers. That's Rosemary Aker and Marlon. If anybody's familiar with the birds, she makes these famous birds. I should have included a picture. There are some of our friendly members helping people out at the sale table. And this was one of my students who also came out to check out the sale. So this will be at the Waterloo Memorial Recreation Complex. So even if you're not interested in buying, it's a great place to come and check out, you know, what kind of work is made, because it's, I don't know, I think it's inspiring getting to see the work that people put in and the variety of glazes, whether it's wheel thrown or it's built by hand or somewhere in between. And the glazes are just there's so much variety in the glazes. That's Jason LeBay's work. I don't know if you know Jason LeBay. He has a studio on Regina Street. He's been a potter for over 40 years here. One of our shoppers, more of our greeters. All right, well,
onto that. One of the things that we also like to do is we like to try and get them while they're young. So we have a little setup at the rec center where kids can come and they can play with clay. We'll also help them work on the wheel when the parents come out to the sale. And because there's so many kids there for like swimming and everything, so being in a location that's really busy is really helpful. So the workshop, as I said, had its 50th anniversary. It started when the City of Waterloo put out a call for submissions from local arts groups to propose to do something in the EB farmhouse that was in the park. So after it was a farmhouse, it was the residents of the park warden or caretaker for many years, and then it had been going empty. And like any historic building, if it doesn't have use, it will just fall into decline and disrepair, etc. And you've got a derelict building that you have to look after. So for the city, this was great, and then for a group of local potters, it was a really amazing opportunity. So some of these names you might know because they've been long-standing members in the community. Many have passed on, unfortunately. So the Potters Workshop was started up by Winifred Shantz, Ann Roberts, who has gone on to become a potter of renown, primarily in sculpture, Evelyn Buckley, Helen Keeler, Elsa McKella, Dawn Middleton, Roma Middleton, Teresa Scheel, and Dorothea Tute. So that group was successful in getting us into the EB farmhouse. And then they decided, okay, well, we have to do a class, and so what are we going to do? We need wheels. So they started boring wheels, and then had to fundraise to, get some supplies. They used also the fees, the tuition fees for classes to run that first class, and then took out a loan to buy a kiln so they could actually fire everybody's work. And that's where it all started. Yeah, I'm constantly amazed by how much organization and how much thought has gone into how things are run for it to run 50 long years with just volunteers. So, another shot from the sale, and some more shots of pottery. So this is our wheel room, and a couple years ago we had a throw-a-thon because one of the main events that we support is the Empty Bowls fundraiser that's for the food bank of Waterloo Region. So that's coming up in May. So all of our potters make about 700 bowls a year. So there are 2 sittings that are at Knox Church, and then one at the university at Laurier. And so people buy tickets, and they get to choose a bowl that they get to take home. So they choose a bowl, and then local restaurants and bakeries provide soup, stew, and bread, and you get to eat as much as you want. And then you get to take a bowl home with you. So it's a great event. I ashamedly just went for the first time last year, just because the timing was a little off for me to be able to make it usually because it's on a weekday during the day. But I highly recommend it if you can do it. It's lots of fun. So a couple of years ago, we decided to get all the members together and have this big bowl-a-thon and make tons and tons of bowls. So this is bowls that were thrown on the wheel, and just a few of them. And they ended up taking over the whole workshop. So those are them drying, right? So they first get thrown on the wheel, then you have to let them dry for a little bit. And then you put thrown bowls you put back on the wheel to trim the bottoms. And then we also had a bunch of people making bowls by hand. There's one in production. And then there's a whole team that glazes them, and then they come out with all these amazing colors and textures. That's a shot of trimming. So we have, this was one of my students. We have classes throughout the year, and they're always the nicest people who come out to pottery classes and who join the workshop. Potters are just the nicest people, and I'm sure you feel that about Rotary too. And we all like to eat too. I would say that. Potters like food and clay, and giving back. So yeah, so that's a shot of trimming on the wheel. So once you've thrown, you trim it, and then it goes into a kiln. These are our electric kilns. There are different temperatures that clay is fired at. So this is a mid-range temperature, so it goes to about it goes through 2 firings, and the first firing is just to dry it out, so that then you can apply glaze. And so those are a pile of pots that have their foot, the bottoms get wax on them because the bottom is going to sit on the kiln shelf. And so the first firing, to get to this stage, it went to about 1,000 degrees Celsius. And then the next stage, it's going to go up to just about 1,200 degrees Celsius. So this is when you're getting ready to glaze. And so a glaze is made up of all these different minerals and elements that are byproducts of mining. That you've got a combination that's going to create a flow, like a flux, to help the glaze melt. You've got colorants in there. You've got elements that will keep it in suspension. Yeah. So anyway, so it's all very technical. Yeah, question?
What do you mean by thrown?
Thrown. Oh, so that's on the wheel. So we call that process, we call it throwing, because you take your ball of clay and then you smack it on the wheel, and then you center it. So when students are first learning, these are now become my least favorite nights, is night 1 and 2, when they're first learning how to center the clay. And centering is all about getting the clay so that it's perfectly, it's not just the particle, like it's really about the particles lining up so that they will, they'll be smooth, and and you don't have pieces like jutting out, because with the force of the wheel spinning around, if it's slightly off, the force will get it, will really walk it like farther out, right? So that's why it needs to be perfectly centered.
How fast does it spin?
Not necessarily that fast.
Faster than 45.
Okay. Faster than 45. It depends what you're doing. Yeah, so anyway, so we call that throwing. Yeah.
So the kilns are electric?
I use electric kilns. We also have a gas kiln.
Because 1,000 degrees centigrade. Boy, you must have some whopping hydro bills.
Yeah. It's not well. They're running all the time, yes. But yeah, but they're pretty efficient though. So it's not so bad, but yeah.
Do you collaborate with the glass and clay?
The clay and glass? We have an association. So the clay and glass, one of our members is almost always on their board. And the clay and glass hosts our members exhibition. So we have an exhibition every year called Earthborn, where we bring in an outside juror and members submit pots to go into to get critiqued and then potentially go into an exhibition, and there are a bunch of prizes. So they'll host that, and we don't have any formal ties together. It's really, when we can do things together, we'll try and do that, but we're not like tied together. Yeah. Yeah.
So how many members do you have?
We have about 130. Yeah, it goes up and down. At one point there were 200. There are the members who are really, who, you know, make at least part of their income from pottery. Most of them would have studios at home or off-site, because we only have so much space. But yeah, and as I said, the membership is like all, you know, all along the spectrum. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have introduction opportunities? Not signing up for full series of classes, but a night of come try it out?
We don't. We would really like to do that. The challenge for us is that the same space where we have our classes is also the space that our members use. And we found even 2 years ago we added a Saturday class, and just that one extra class started to impinge not just on member time, but the resources. So places to store work, boards, you know, to store your work, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. So once, so these bowls went through a first bisque firing, and then the bottoms get waxed because that's going to sit on the shelf. And I was talking about the glaze ingredients. So any glaze is essentially glass, whether or not it looks shiny or it's matte. It still is essentially like having a coating of glass on your pot. So when it's melted, you know, it's like if anyone's ever made toffee or caramel, you know, that's like extremely sticky and impossible to clean off of anything. So we want to protect the shelves in the kiln, and so you put wax on so that you can easily wipe the glaze off. And so these are a mix of my pots. You can't always tell when they're glazed. You don't know the color that the glaze looks like isn't what the color will look like in the end. But that's the glaze pot. And then those are pieces that have been fired and are coming out of the kiln. And some more of those.
Was that the inside of a kiln?
Yeah, so this is the inside of an electric kiln. So you see those columns, those like tubes, they look like tubes there. Those are called stilts, and they come in different heights. So then you have the white thing that they're sitting on is a shelf. And so all of that comes out so that you can build up the shelf according to the size of the pots. So you want to be really economical. Most potters are extremely frugal to the point of being cheap. So also because they're not well paid, right? Like the hours it takes to actually produce the work, it's very hard, you know, unless you're pretty renowned, or some potters more potters in the States can make a living than I think here. But and you want to stuff the kiln as much as possible. We even have little we call little things you can put in between all the pots. We call those kiln stuffers, and you want to actually make those so that'll pay for your kiln. So you just build those up. So you have the stilts, and then you put a shelf on, and then pick a height that it's going to go to, and put the pots that will fit that height.
How long does it take for each round of firing? Is it an hour or?
No. No, firing is about 9 hours for the electric kiln, and then the gas kiln is anywhere from 11 to 14.
Wow.
Yeah. So the electric kiln, we're able to, you know, walk away and come back to it. We only have to be there at the beginning and the end of the firing, but the gas kiln, because you got CO2, etc., people are there all day. So they basically camp out, bring work to do. They have, you know, picnics all day, etc. Yeah. And then this was a pickup and potluck night from my class last week. Actually, we had 2 classes, both the handwork and the wheel class had their last night, so it's kind of a fun night. Everybody gets to check out their pots. They're so excited. And then I have to show a couple people how to use the grinder because their glaze was too thick and ran. and ended up chipping off some on the bottom, so they need to smooth that over. Let's see. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
What does the average pot or vase go for at a sale? Is there like an average? Like
No.
Thinking about what somebody had for his birthday.
You don't want to
The old pots
are cheap.
Definitely our sale, you'll find a big range, right? Because you got people who are newer, they don't know how to price things. Some people, I think, underprice, and it's not Toronto, so you know you're gonna pay less. But there's a huge range, and there's like jewelry, mugs, bowls, etc.
Salt and pepper.
I'm sorry?
You make salt and pepper? Shakers?
Sometimes. Those are harder to find.
Is all the glaze food safe now? I mean, at one point in our past history, I guess they used to use lead or something in some of the glazes. Are all the glazes food safe?
Yeah, so you always need to ask people, but anything that's put in our sale has to be food safe.
Okay.
Yeah, or it will specifically say for display only. There's another process, I didn't bring pictures here, but it's very cool to watch. If called raccoon firing, and so that's done very quickly outside, and the pots, you basically pick them up like really like completely hot and on fire, and you put them into a bin with some paper, and there's a bunch of smoke and everything. But it's lots of fun watching them like go. There's a little dance. You can see that on our Facebook page if you check the videos, actually.
Leo.
You'd mentioned food for bowls or bowls for food, or when is
Empty
that?
bowls.
Oh,
yeah,
empty bowls?
empty bowls. Empty bowls is in May.
Food.
And you could all you can eat?
Yeah.
There goes your
Tickets for empty bowls usually go on sale. Well, they always go on sale April 1st through the Clay and Glass Gallery. Yeah.
And when is it?
And it'll be in May. I think it's around May 23rd or something, or 18th, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Any other questions? Great.
Great. Thank you so much.
Jim, it's my honor to thank you for speaking to us today, and for that we have, in your honor, we've restored the site of a 70-year-old lady in, I don't know where that is.
Oh, I was going to produce something.
Bless you for that. It was interesting. I'm kind of from the Brown era of pot. When I talked about firing it in papers, I wasn't sure what we were talking about. So once again, I do thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Leo, and everybody else that's interested, Thursday, May the 23rd, from 5 until 7 at Knox Presbyterian Church is the 2019 Empty Bowls fundraiser.
All the bowls will be empty.
5 to 7, May 23rd.
Hey.
They don't tell you how much though.
I think they went to $50 last year.
So you gotta eat a lot of soup, Leo. You don't go for one bowl.
I'll bring it on schedule. If there's nothing else for the good of Rotary.
Great job.
Yeah, you can have a
Good to see you, Andy. I don't want you to catch my cold. Happy trails. This is very big. Thank you.
I gotta go. yeah, we need a different.
Sorry?
See what's up.
Yeah. It's always good, right? Just to see. Yeah, they're usually free that it goes to. Insurance will do a second sale.
Tuesday?
I can take your
That's all.
Watching curling?
You mentioned Jason.